Hi everybody, welcome to our fifth webinar series for wellness, taking care of yourself while taking care of others. Excited to have you today. I'm going to be sharing some fun stuff with you guys today that you guys have shared with me in regards to wellness that you're using and your wellness tools. And we had a drawing last time and we're going to have one again today for some gift cards. So today our focus is going to be staying well during changing times. When things are breaking down or getting worse, we're on that part of the whole wrap that we've been going over. So this isn't necessarily the funnest part of doing wrap, because this is when you get to a point where things aren't going so great and you're recognizing that things aren't going so great and that maybe you need to slow down or see what you've done in the past. So we're going to be checking in with what does wellness look like to you, especially during these times right now that I think people are very eager every time we hear Dewan or we hear some more news of, are you going back to work? Are people coming back to work if you are in the office already? And what is that going to look like for you? So we're going to be talking about that. And your wellness tools that your peers and that your coworkers use. So I've invited you guys to share pictures with me of you using your wellness tool, your daily maintenance plan, really with whatever you'd like to share. And I'm going to be showing you some of those that have been shared with me. And I invite you to send me pictures that you have. And people have asked me, do I have to be in the picture? Absolutely not. Whatever you want to share is totally fine. I support whatever you would like to share that you're comfortable with. And then finally, again, when things are breaking down or getting worse. So, I like to share my little Deepak Chopra quotes, and the first one is, every time you are tempted to react in the same old way, ask if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. It's one of my favorites, really resonates with me about when I want to make changes and positive changes in my life and ask myself, there's a saying that I like that says, if you continue to think what you've always thought, you'll continue to get what you've always got. And I've known it for 20-something years. I have no idea where I even heard it from, but I have it up in my home office and work office. And then the other is, it helps if you remember that everyone is doing their best from their level of consciousness. I hope that people do that with me when maybe I'm not at my best, and I try to do that with others, that we're all at a different level of perception, even today with what's going on with COVID, and there's a lot going on in our world, especially in the past couple of months, and with George Floyd and what happened with him. There's a lot of emotion out there, a lot of raw emotion. And I think it's important that we try to be understanding and empathetic to where everybody's coming from and their point of view. So happy Pride Month. This is June, so just thought I would throw that in there. We are celebrating Pride Month, the whole month of June. So to my brothers and sisters out there, I love you, and to our allies, I love you as well, and happy Pride Month. So I'm going to recap just really quickly. Seminar 1, we did the key recovery concepts. You guys will remember hope, personal responsibility, education, support, and self-advocacy. We worked on the wellness toolbox, which is a listing of things that you've done in the past or that you could do, things that you're going to do to keep yourself well. So, if you think of a toolbox, just think of all of your wellness stuff that you're throwing in there. Meditation, gardening, going for a hike, talking to your husband or wife or partner, or both if you have all three or whatever. And seminar 2, we did the daily maintenance plan. So an important part of the daily maintenance plan is explaining what you are like when you're well, so that in your plan, if you were to share it with someone, they would know exactly what Baltimore is like when he is well. And in that seminar, we went over examples and stuff. And for those of you that are joining just today, perhaps for the first time, Please reach out to me if you have any questions, or those of you that picked up books that won the raffle drawing last week that all got books. If you have questions, please reach out to me. That's totally okay. And we also went over developing cohorts, which we've got about, I think, 13 people right now. So email me if you're interested in that. Cohorts, teams, where we would do a daily, weekly check-in with each other just to see how everyone's doing. Then seminar 3, we went over what does wellness look like to you. You've probably heard me say this each time, and I think it's important that we all recognize when we hear the word wellness, because there's so much stuff out there for wellness. It's $1 billion industry on what people buy and purchase, and we all aim for wellness. And what does that look like to you, so that you can then try to achieve wellness in whatever that is in your eyes. And we went over stressors, also known as triggers, which are external upsetting events or circumstances that produce discomfort, any kind of discomfort. And some examples were driving, a reply all to an email here in the county. So something that just creates discomfort for you. And then we also went in again to teams. And then seminar 4, we did the early warning signs action plan. So this is where if you can almost think of on a scale, you're doing really good and you're doing your daily maintenance plan and everything's going really good. And maybe you just had a minor setback and things just aren't looking so good. This is to get us back. It's like a chain on a bike. It's to get that chain back on. It's to get gas in your car. It's to get you back on track. You're starting to see maybe some early warning signs of you're feeling more tired. You don't have the energy to go out and do those gardening, to do the gardening that you like to do, or the jog that you like to take every morning, or maybe you're really irritable. It's going to be different for everyone, and there are no wrong or right answers. I want to remind you of that. No wrong or right answers. You are the expert on yourself. And then we spoke a little bit about why working from home can be so exhausting and how to make it better. And some people reached out to talk about that and how the unknown, can even cause exhaustion, or just the change from routine when you're used to doing something that maybe you didn't think you liked. And I think I mentioned this before, that people have told me, they're actually starting to miss being at work, and they're missing some of the things they thought they didn't like. And then there's others who absolutely love working from home and are thriving. So that's going to be a decision, I guess for all of us to look at in the future is what makes us happy. And when we talk about wellness, what does that encompass, and how can we change those things that we do dread? So, okay, I'm going to briefly, for those of you that haven't been a part of this, I'm just going to go over really quickly what WRAP is. And WRAP is a self-designed plan for staying well and helping you to feel better. So really what you're doing with WRAP is you're creating your own menu of life. You're the expert on yourself. What do you look like when you're well? What do you look like when you're not well? What do you want to look like? What do you want wellness to look like for you? And what can you do to achieve that? And then in that WRAP plan, Wellness Recovery Action Plan, you get to choose supporters, the people in your life who are supportive. And I will say, I think one must be very careful to make sure you're choosing supporters who are non-judgmental and make you feel positive, and that you also know are going to be there. And it's good to have more than one supporter, or even 2 supporters if possible, because sometimes people are going through their own stuff, right? So we need to be cognizant of the fact that they may not always be available, to help us. And vice versa, if we're supporting other people. And we're going to be going into this next time. We'll be talking about accountability and accountability partners. But so the whole purpose of having a WRAP plan is not just to feel good about saying you have one, because it's the in thing in Fresno and California, and it's really about investing in your wellness and having a written script that you can look at when maybe you're not doing so well. and go, oh, okay, well, maybe I can get back to doing that jogging that I haven't been doing, that journaling that I haven't been doing. Maybe I need to call my therapist. Maybe I need to make an appointment with a doctor. They're, in a sense, a gentle reminder to yourself of keeping yourself accountable for what you need to do to keep yourself well. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's what a WRAP plan is. So the 5 key recovery concepts, which are the meat and bones, meat and potatoes of WRAP. Hope. Without hope, what do you have? Personal responsibility, regaining control of your life. Education, knowing yourself, your diagnosis, your symptoms. Knowing is half the battle. And let me also say, when I just said education and knowing your diagnosis, WRAP is not just for someone who has a mental health diagnosis. If you're dealing with substance abuse, if you're dealing with a physical ailment, we had somebody give an example a couple of months ago. She did a whole WRAP plan around her pregnancy and who she wanted present when she had the baby, who she wanted present when she came home from the hospital. She did not want her mother-in-law there because her mother-in-law apparently rearranges her home and everything else. So that's an example of something else you could use as a plan. It's just, again, a plan to make things go smoother in your life, make things go smoother, make you more well, but it does not have to be mental health. It does not have to be substance abuse. There are Fortune 500 companies who have WRAP plans with their staff and yeah. So the next one is self-advocacy, taking charge. You are the one who decides your future. So self-advocacy, support, developing a strong support system to keep you on track and focused on life change. Let me say a little bit about self-advocacy during these times. I've had a lot of people reach out to me for one-on-one conversations, and I think it's really important with self-advocacy during this time that when you decide what it is and you recognize what it is that you need to make yourself happy, well, that art of self-advocacy comes in. Whether it's with your spouse, your partner, your coworkers, your supervisor, how do you self-advocate for something? And a lot of people have told me that they don't know how to self-advocate. And then maybe they hold it in and it comes out in other ways, depression or anger, when simply maybe it was just that they needed an accommodation for a couple weeks at work and they were just afraid to ask for it. And only you know the environment that you work in. So I will by no means give anybody advice on what to do, just some words of wisdom when it comes to taking care of yourself involves having the ability to self-advocate. And we'll get into some more of that a little bit later. So checking in. I like to remind you guys of this. However you're feeling right now is okay. There's no wrong or right way to feel. They're your feelings. Own them. This is temporary. The COVID thing, right? We've been saying this for 2 months already. And it is, we're seeing these changes. We've talked even before when we were on the triggers and stressors about people that get triggered because there's people not wearing masks. So there's all these changes going on that we're dealing with, and acknowledge those feelings. It's okay. And it's okay to have those feelings. Now, where we have to take responsibility is whether or not we react to those feelings and how we react to those feelings, right? We want to be respectful. And I went into a store yesterday where 3 people did not have masks on, and the big sign on the door apparently meant nothing because they didn't say anything to them. And I was a little triggered when I got out to the car and took some deep breaths. But I can tell you that I have friends that don't think you need to wear masks. So there's that whole conversation there as well that people might be having in regards to our differences, again, of perceiving COVID and perceiving the danger that's still out there. I still perceive it as a grave danger. Some people don't. So you see these little fun things. I feel good today. That is, who is that, Brian?
Lucy.
Oh, Lucy from Charlie Brown. And then, so Grumpy Cat is one of my absolute favorites in the world. Him and the Garbage Pail Kids, I used to love those. Anything sarcastic like that. And he says, I had fun once, it was awful. And then feeling great. So you see these different moods, they're all okay, right? We all loved Grumpy Cat, and I'm sure most people loved Lucy. I don't really remember the Charlie Brown. But I know a lot of people loved Charlie Brown. And then the one down there eating a donut, right? Most of us want to lose weight, and most of us are probably not doing much about it. And there's us sneaking in that donut, maybe not with an apron on, but. So there we go, just checking in, just again, acknowledge your feelings. You are okay, you are perfect exactly the way that you are. If anybody hasn't told you that, you are you. So how are you feeling today? Ask yourself. So we just said check in on how are you feeling. Ask yourself once or twice, 3 times, 10 times, as many times as you want a day. How am I doing? Let me check in with myself. Let me check in with my body, my mind, my soul. How am I doing? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I angry? Am I worried? Am I feeling shy, excited, surprised, silly, embarrassed? Maybe you feel all those things within a couple of hours span. You know, I like to plan for a few hours ahead and say, okay, in the next few hours, this is how I'm gonna take care of my wellness. Because for me personally, I may be really angry about something and 20 minutes later be really happy. So I don't let how I'm feeling in the moment dictate the rest of my day or definitely the next 24 hours because I just don't know. So, okay, on to the next slide. So again, what does wellness look like to you? And if you need to grab a piece of paper, for later on, think about it, write it down. So this is where I'm going to challenge you for the drawing. What I would like you to do is to share, and if you want to keep it private with just me, that's fine, and email me what wellness looks like to you. If you want to share right now in the live chat what wellness looks like to you, and we'll share it right now while we're doing this. Remembering that wellness is an active process of becoming aware and making choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life. It's more that, so I absolutely love this line. Wellness is more than being free from illness. It is a dynamic process of change and growth. So it's more than just not being sick. Wellness encompasses our whole body. I'm sure you guys have heard your body is a temple. Well, in that body is a mind, a soul. It encompasses everything about us. And the World Health Organization, according to them, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Very similar to the first one I read. And then the National Wellness Institute, a conscious, self-directed, and evolving process of achieving full potential. Full potential. So again, as we develop a wrap, or as we even just think about our lives and what wellness looks like to us, what is keeping us back from our full potential? What is that? And actually taking the time to try and go down that journey of discovery within ourselves of what is keeping us back. And I normally preface these webinars by saying there's no presumption that anybody watching is not well, and this isn't a matter of trying to teach people how to be well. This is really a matter of trying to walk down that journey with you of the wellness that you already encompass, the tools that you're already using, and just to kind of decompartmentalize them, put them together to where that they work for you. There's no assumption that anybody is not well. Damn, I'm not well 7 days a week, you know, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, so this picture really resonated with me because I often think and get stuck in Central Valley mode. It's hot or it's cold, you know, and I think it's important that we remind ourselves that we actually can go to other states, other countries, other cities. We've got Yosemite not too far. We've got lakes, we've got oceans. And what I love for this picture is that it reminds me that there's so many other things going on in this world. You know, when it's 107 in Fresno, it's snowing somewhere else, it's raining somewhere else, it's humid somewhere else. And in reality, I could make plans and go visit somewhere else like that. So I absolutely just love, love, love this picture. Just wanted to share that. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the sharing of the wellness tools. So this is a bit of the fun part. So, and I'd like you guys to do this as well, if you would like, to share in the future. And again, send some pictures of what makes you feel good. Type in the live chat right now, something that makes you feel good. So you'll see on there that I have intentional surrendering and let it be. I have that in 2 different rooms in my house. So I also have an obsession with bees. I love bees. I don't know why, but I do. I love them. I can't get enough of them. And I'll have you know that I was the only one that got stung at Pathways, having loved them so much and telling people to leave them alone, and then they came and stung me. But I still love them. So that intentional surrendering to me is that just at times, it's really important to be able to surrender and to say, I'm not okay, or I could really use an ear, I could use your help. That's been a battle of mine for a very long time, is reaching out and asking. So that surrendering, and that also just saying, sit in the discomfort or sit in the happiness, whichever one it is that you're feeling, and let it be, Baltimore, because it's not going to last forever. The second one, I'm not sure if you can see it from your screen, are lots and lots of needles in my back, and that is acupuncture. I love acupuncture, and since COVID, I've not been able to go. So hopefully here soon, at some point, can go in wearing a mask and get some acupuncture. And family, that's a picture of myself and my son. And then support, that's a picture of one of my best friends, Rita Mejia, who works for the county. And one more page, which is the next one. That is cupping. So I also have that done when I get the acupuncture. I have many people ask me, well, does it make you feel better? What are the effects? For one, I tell them to Google it. But also, I believe in using whatever works for you that makes you feel better. I can tell you that before cupping and acupuncture and going to the chiropractor with regularity, I used to get migraines like 4 or 5 times a week years ago. And then that stopped. So do I believe? Yes, I am a believer in acupuncture and the resetting of my energy in my body. And so I'm also I'm a spiritualist. So you see on the bottom, that was in San Juan Bautista. And then to the right, that was at St. Francis when I went on a rap training, and we were there for a week, and we actually stayed at a monastery where there was a chapel, and it was just so beautiful. And the middle one is my granddaughter, and her name is Sunny. So now I'm going to share with you some that were sent in. So y'all should know who Dewan Utech is. That is our director. So Dewan sent these in and says, family, exercise, friends, and one of our dogs, Chip. So family, exercise, friends, and one of our dogs, Chip. I'll give you a second if you have to look for Dewan, because I did. because she's not wearing glasses or anything, but she's the one in the middle in the yellow dress. So very beautiful pictures, Dewan. So the next one was shared with us by Stacy Van Bruggen and this is of her and her family at the coast. Stacy said it was okay to share this story. So these 3 cats, Calypso, Apollo, and Artemis, are rescue cats from Metro. Apparently they were living in the walls of Carrie Williams' office. I had heard old ghost tales that Metro had all kinds of things living in these walls. Well, apparently it's true. And cats were just coming out and Lord knows what else. But Stacy decided to take these cats home and name them Calypso, Apollo, and Artemis. So that's how she came about, those 3 cats. And then another one of her family up there. So obviously in her wellness tools, it looks like Stacy likes to travel, right? And the next one, this is Rita Mejia. And Rita says her family working in the garden with her cat, Courtney Love. So, by the way, I referenced Courtney Love in the last webinar that I did. Her song Malibu was the lyrics, how are you so burnt when you're barely on fire? I had a few people email me and ask me what the name of that song was and who it was. It's one of my favorites. And by chance, that's Rita's cat's name, Courtney Love. So, and on the top, you see the spirituality. That was also it in San Juan Bautista. And on the bottom, Rita down there with her, I think it's the Virgin Mary. And then her niece in the middle. Raquel Tirado sent this, which was meditation. So I thought this picture was so beautiful. Raquel, thank you for sharing this. They're all beautiful pictures, but just the ambiance of peace that this picture just encompasses. I really want to go there. Maybe Raquel will show me where it's at or tell me where it's at. And just a beautiful picture of Raquel meditating. So that's one of her wellness tools. Teeshawn Baker, coloring. She says, surrounding myself in my office with my colorings. She had shared with me that she has a pretty small office and that her colorings help her to just feel more positive and give her positive vibes in her office. So she likes to color and she likes to put those up. So, and there's still a couple more. So I want to go back to, again, wellness tools are different for everyone. As you're looking at these, you may think, well, that doesn't interest me. Well, that's okay. That's why we're all different. Personally, coloring is really hard for me because I can't sit still most of the time. But I think it's beautiful when Teeshawn does it and when others do it at trainings. And so you can take from these and just be sure to make sure that you don't shame yourself for anything because you don't like doing anything that you see. Maybe you don't like to travel and go to the coast. That's okay. I know somebody who goes to the zoo every weekend when they're open. And again, no right or wrong answer, okay? Martha Deluca sent this picture, decompressing in the garden. And if you look closely, her little doggie is in the back, which I often tease Martha, because Martha takes her little doggie on her bicycle and puts the doggie in the basket. And I sent her a picture of the Wizard of Oz with the witch that has the basket and the little doggie, and I'll get you my pretty. And so I absolutely love that little dog, but I can't remember its name. So decompressing in the garden, okay? Beautiful picture. The next one is Natalie Morgan has been really, really excited, and she cannot wait to make salsa. She had shared that with me a couple of weeks ago. So she says, I relieve stress in the evening. I walk my dog. I exercise online with Cycling Bar Community and Boot Camp Community. I also started a container garden, tomatoes and peppers. Looking forward to making salsa. So it sounds like Natalie's a very, very busy person. And here's a really fun one. Sandy Medina sent this to me. And this is her goofing around with her sisters. It looks like some kind of a virtual check-in that they're doing. To be honest, I can't tell which one is Sandy on top, and I forgot to ask her. Sandy, you're probably watching, so you could always let us know if you wanted. But I just thought this was really fun, and I thought it was even more fun that Sandy was willing to share just being goofy. All of us like to be goofy at times, right? That's actually in my rap is when I'm very playful and jovial, it means I'm well when I'm playing around. And so then Valentine Hernandez shared this picture of Roxy. He said, "She is my first puppy ever. We got her like 2 weeks after we all got sent to work from home. She has been keeping me company and keeping me busy." So that is Valentine's little doggy, Roxy. Beautiful doggy. And then I had shared with you guys a bunch of mine. You're gonna have to give me 1 second. I'm not sure what happened here, Brian.
I was probably trying to play the video. Just hit the escape. There you go.
Okay, my apologies. So I tried to add a couple of videos for you guys for meditation, and maybe we'll link those, or we'll next time figure out how to add them in. And if you go to DBH's website on YouTube or their site, lots of videos on there. Deep breathing. There's a couple of me on there walking you through guided meditations. But then I've said this before, there's nothing, probably nothing, you cannot find on YouTube. If you want a guided meditation that has birds in the background, personally when I meditate, I like chanting, or I like a guided meditation. Dr. Douglas Tabor is one of my favorites. Beth Fresky is another one of my favorites. I don't like to hear birds and all that just rattling and carrying on because it just breaks my concentration. So, okay, so enough of that fun stuff. So we're gonna get back to example of when things are breaking down, okay? So we talked about that when things are breaking down, I wanna reiterate this, does not mean that you're in a bad spot, because this is why we develop a plan. We develop a plan so that we can get ourselves out of that. But here are some examples, okay, that people have given. Feeling very needy or not feeling anything at all. Being unable to sleep or sleeping all the time. Substance abuse or thinking about abusing substances. Thoughts of self-harm or cutting, or actually cutting. Seeing things that are not there. Hearing voices, negative self-talk, suicidal thinking, obsessing about death or bad things that might happen, risk-taking behaviors like speeding, driving recklessly, spending money you can't afford to spend, or sexual promiscuity. These are just some examples that people have given that for them, that is an identifier that things are breaking down. Now, these may actually be the norm for a lot of people. These might be somewhere different on that scale that I talked about earlier, and because we all have a different baseline. So if you're used to a little bit of negative self-talk every day or a lot, again, it's up to you to decide, because you may say, well, hey, Baltimore, I've never felt any of that. Well, good for you. And I'd love to know how, because I think all of us, at some point have felt something like that. But for somebody else, they may feel these things when they get triggered. So you would want to ask yourself, okay, when things are breaking down and I'm needing to reach out, what am I feeling? What is going on? What is the sign for me? So for Baltimore, it's when I'm feeling like I want to crawl out of my skin. I've shared before that hope for me and really in my whole life, I aim for peace of mind at all times, every day. I aim for peace of mind when I lay my head down at night. I don't really, even when I pray to my higher power, I'm not asking for things. I really just want peace of mind. And So again, that's going to be different for all of us. You know, I feel like I went on a tangent there. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. So okay, I'm going to go on to the next slide. I'm stuck.
Okay, go back into presentation, or just go down.
It's not working. Oh, here we go. Right there?
Yeah.
Or here. Sorry, guys. So I keep telling people, you know, the great thing about everything that we're doing right now is that we're learning by trial and error, right? I'll be doing some trainings that are going to be virtual. And someone said, well, my God, aren't you nervous that the audience? No, absolutely not. I think all of us must be forgiving with one another right now and patient, and we're all learning, right? There's a lot of things you guys are learning at home, and we had to learn cameras and all that, and no, it's fine. So the fourth section of RAP is when things are breaking down, and then it comes with the action plan. So again, you'll begin by making a list of those signs that indicate to you that you are having a very difficult time. Signs that if you don't take action to help yourself, you could have a crisis, which is what we'll be getting in next time, is the crisis and the crisis plan. So we're wanting to identify that before it happens. We're wanting to put gas in the car before it stops on Blackstone and Shaw when it's 107. We're wanting to put oil in the car before the transmission gives out. So we're at that point. The car's starting to rattle. When things are breaking down is about thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and other signs that are very distracting, uncomfortable, and upsetting. That's what I was talking about. I'm sorry. So I was talking about, speaking of distracting, is what brought my mind back to it. When things are breaking down, exactly, distracting, uncomfortable, upsetting. So perhaps something that normally wouldn't upset you does now. Maybe that person cutting out in front of you, you know, normally you'd be able to say, okay, I don't know them. It was an accident. And on this certain day, you're calling them every name under the sun and saluting them with your middle finger. You know, things that are out of character for you. They may be physically hurt. Maybe you're hurting physically. Some people get migraines, stomach aches, diarrhea, affected by lots of different things. It's hard to do the things you like to do and be the kind of person you want to be when you have these signs, right? These signs differ from person to person. Signs that may mean things are breaking down to one person may be an early sign to another, like I mentioned earlier, or even a crisis indicator for someone else. So if we go back for a second, if someone else starts to hear a voice or something, for me personally, that would be a crisis. I've never had that happen. But for somebody who does deal with psychosis and auditory or visual and takes medication for it, you know, or maybe you go to the doctor and they've given you some new medication and you don't even have those diagnoses, and it's a side effect. So again, different for everyone, okay? So signs that may mean things are breaking down, again, different, or even a crisis indicator for someone else. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. So developing your action plan. And what is an action plan? So we've had an action plan for everything that we've talked about, right? For your day, a daily maintenance plan. We've had a triggers action plan. We've had a early warning signs action plan. So here again, when things are breaking down action plan. So this contains activities listed in order to help you feel better, get well, and decrease the chance of a crisis. And some of you maybe have not created a wellness toolbox. That's okay. It's never too late. The right time to start is when you want to. And so using your wellness toolbox to create a plan that's very directive, that tells you exactly what you need to do if these signs come up. So if I'm feeling that anxiety and I don't have that peace of mind and I'm scared of my own shadow and I don't want to drive. Well, that's when things are breaking down to me. Luckily, I've been in recovery for so long that it doesn't really freak me out. That does not mean it's comfortable. It can still get very uncomfortable. But it doesn't scare me the way that it used to, because I know that I have a plan, and okay, I need to take a bath, I need to go for a walk, relax, tell my supporters to make me slow down. And I'm not talking about, being aggressive. I'm talking about just, okay, Dad, you said to remind you to slow down. Or, hey, friend, stop already. You don't need to rearrange the office and do this. And so using your wellness toolbox, again, to create a plan of what to do if these signs come up. So that's where that you and creating your menu of life are going to tell yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to do if that happens. Include very clear directions and have fewer choices. So let me explain to you the difference in that. So when we say have clearer directions and fewer choices, if we go back to the daily maintenance plan and to the early warning signs, we were referring back to our daily maintenance tools, which you might have 200 of them listed, wellness tools, things that make you feel good, things that make you feel better. So this is the time right here because we don't want to get in crisis, to be very specific with yourself or for whoever's reading it, where, okay, I need to slow down. Baltimore needs to slow down. Baltimore needs to take a bath this evening. Baltimore needs to eat something healthy this evening. For me personally, if I don't eat a healthy meal when I'm feeling a lot of angst or anxiety, it can make it worse. So I need to be very specific, but I also need to not have on there, go to Pismo. That may not be realistic. That would be somewhere else of things I might possibly do earlier in the plan. So going back to that car analogy, we're trying to get some oil in the car. We're not going to drive it 200 miles, right? We need to be patient, and we need to get it fixed and looked at and be gentle. So keeping things from getting worse, okay? Which really, if you think about it, with this whole plan is we're just striving for wellness. We're just striving for wellness. So when we get to this point, how do we bring it back to that wellness? Because it can be brought back. And going back to you are the expert on yourself, only you know what you need. Now, one might say, well, if that's the case, then why do you go into hospitals and all that? So there are such things as advanced directives and stuff that even California is going to be implementing, and that we'll be going over with the crisis plan, where it's acknowledging you are the expert on yourself, even in a crisis. So responding to uncomfortable, serious, and even dangerous thoughts, feelings, and behaviors when things are breaking down depends on the options that work best for you. For you, not for anyone else. And part of this process for a lot of people, again, is letting go of any shame or blame of, oh my God, how did I let myself get this far? Why didn't I call my therapist last week? So we start to get into a lot of supposed right? I was supposed to do this, I was supposed to do that. It's a time to be very gentle and nurturing with yourself, and you want to remind yourself of that. So include clear and focused instructions about the steps you must take to keep yourself from feeling worse and worse, and that will help you feel better quickly. Again, this is a time when you can still take some action to help yourself. Your plan can include asking your supporters to help you. And I've actually had people say, well, what if it's my husband or wife? And then that may be more of a long-term plan, and a short-term plan of what do I need to do right now to make myself feel better about the situation. And then also looking long term if it's your job. Again, it's going to be all about what you decide are the precipitating factors that are leading you to feel this way, okay? So what do you need to maintain your wellness at work? You are the expert on yourself. I want you to really take that in, okay? Because we've had a couple of months since COVID. Whether you're working from home, there's all these changes. What do you need to maintain your wellness at work? What do you need that's going to make you look forward to going to work and thriving? What do you need as far as a conversation with maybe your supervisor when it comes to what your needs are? You've heard me refer to people as suffering in silence, silent sufferers, and those who just don't say anything, and I'm guilty of that too. We must ask ourselves, in a time like this, we're at a precipice of changing our future. Well, what does that look like to you? You know, and I invite you to close your eyes, not right now, but, you know, later on for 5-10 minutes and just envision, what does that look like to you? And if it's a matter of you don't feel your supervisor is receptive to your needs, then we know we have a chain of command, and you can go through those facilities to try to get your needs met. Time off, reduced work schedule. Maybe you want to work more. Who knows? Again, you're the expert on yourself. Maybe you want to take an Uber to work, you know, half the week instead of driving every day. Those are just some examples of what you need to maintain your wellness at work. Do you need to prepare the night before and get all your clothes ready and everything else so that you're not in a rush in the morning? Do you need to leave earlier? What do you need to do? And really think about that, what you need to do. Brian, do we have anything in the live chat?
I do not believe so.
Okay, so I do have a bunch of texts. I'm just going to look and see if they are any pertaining to this. Okay, Rose Ornelas says she cannot find it.
She found it.
She found it, okay. Okay, and somebody's laughing that I misspoke on my words and got tongue-tied. So, okay. Again, if you're interested in becoming part of a check-in team where we would check in, I'm actually a part of 3 teams right now. One of them I lead. I'll be leading one this Thursday, and I just led one this Monday. It's just a check-in to see how you're doing, how you're holding up, what you're using to keep yourself well, and just email me and let me know you're interested. Resources, as always, the Employee Assistance Program. Please reach out to them. You get a certain amount of free therapy sessions if that's what you need, but they also have a lot of other things to offer, financial assistance, and I am in no way associated with them, but I just think they're a really good resource. There's a totally free rap app that you can download, and everything that we're talking about right now on your phone, you can email it to yourself, you can print it. And so just a reminder that what wellness looks like to you, you send it to me, and then your name will go in for a drawing, okay, for some gift cards. And it doesn't have to be 2 paragraphs. I prefer that it's not your whole life story, just what wellness looks like to you. It could be a picture. It could even be a picture that you take. So June 22nd, looking forward to seeing you guys again in 2 weeks. Same time, same place. We'll be focusing on wellness while working. We're going to be talking about wellness while you're working. And what does that look like for you at work and coming back or whatever situation it is. Wellness accountability. I said a little bit about that earlier, about having accountability partners, and then the crisis plan. So I invite you guys to be good to yourselves, be heard, reach out, and have a great day.